War was coming, but the real danger wasn't the enemy outside. It was the silent schemes forming within the alliance itself, and Han Li was about to step straight into the center of it all. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Once Han Li returned to his residence, he discovered Senior Marshal Brother Lu and the child fire dragon already waiting for him in the first-floor hall. Mu Peiling sat quietly to the side, her posture dignified and composed, exactly as one would expect of a hostess presiding over her home. Upon seeing Han Li enter, she immediately rose to her feet and spoke softly. "My lord Senior Lu and Senior Lan have been waiting for quite some time. Did something happen?" Han Li offered her a rare, gentle smile and replied calmly, "It's nothing of importance. You may go upstairs and rest first. I have some matters to discuss with my two senior marshal brothers." "Yes, my lord." Mu Peiling performed a graceful curtsy, her movements fluid and elegant, before ascending the stairs without another word. Watching her retreating figure, Han Li felt a sense of satisfaction at her keen awareness and tactful restraint. Yet when his thoughts drifted to Nangong Wan, a quiet sigh escaped him despite himself. Seeing Han Li return in such a visibly uplifted mood, Luluo chuckled and teased, "What, has junior marshal brother Han finally developed an interest in having children?" Han Li merely smiled and took a seat beside the two of them. With a composed expression, he said, "Hey, senior marshal brother jests. Since both of you are here, I assume this concerns the treaty meeting earlier today." Lulo's expression turned serious as he replied slowly, "Junior marshal brother has guessed correctly. It concerns the Mulan invasion. We have already conveyed the news to the other sects within the alliance, and word has spread among our fellow alliance members in the city. The majority of these fellow Taoists recognize that this crisis cannot be avoided through concealment alone, and have expressed willingness to send reinforcements. They are prepared to assist the Nine Nations Union in resisting the Mulan vanguard. Of course, these nascent soul cultivators will demand a considerable amount of spirit stones as compensation. Still, the Nine Nations Union should be more than willing to pay. After all, the Mulan are a formidable enemy, and it is ultimately the Nine Nations Union that bears the brunt of this invasion." Han Li nodded, though a trace of puzzlement flickered across his face. "If that is the case, what remains to be discussed? Although I have only been at the nascent soul stage for a few years, I am still capable of fighting." At that moment, the child fire dragon spoke, his youthful face unusually solemn. "Fellow Taoist may not be aware, but representatives from both the righteous Tao and devil Tao visited us earlier and raised several points. I believe it is only right that you hear what they had to say." Han Li blinked a few times, a faintly enigmatic smile forming on his lips. "What did they say? Don't tell me they accused the Nine Nations Union of using this invasion as an opportunity to weaken the other three powers." Lulu responded with a wry smile. "Junior marshal brother Han truly lives up to his reputation. You guessed correctly almost instantly. That said, the Nine Nations Union would find it difficult to contend with all three superpowers simultaneously. It is far more likely they will ally with one or two parties to undermine the remaining one. This is not a situation our Heavenly Tao Alliance wishes to see. Once the Mulan spell warriors retreat, the cultivation world would fall into chaos. We cannot allow the balance of power to be disrupted." Han Li let out a soft chuckle and asked evenly, "Oh, in that case, you mean?" The child fire dragon nodded and continued, "It is quite simple. Although the three superpowers will temporarily heed the Nine Nations Union, we will not allow them to weaken any of us. After discussions with both the devilish and righteous Tao, we have reached a consensus. Tomorrow we will convene in the official hall to establish certain rules. At the very least, the Nine Nations Union must send their own elders into battle alongside ours, rather than covertly sacrificing our nascent soul cultivators. We require junior marshal brother Han along with the others to support this proposal." Han Li answered without hesitation, "That is no problem. I have no desire to fight on the front lines while others scheme behind my back." Lulo exhaled a sigh of relief. "Excellent. In addition to junior marshal brother Han, we will contact other fellow Taoists to ensure that the Enlightened Leaf Sect and the Flowing Mind Sect are unable to proceed with such tactics. I only hope this war will end swiftly. Otherwise, the losses across Heavenly South will be beyond reckoning." The child fire dragon's lips curled into a cold, ominous smile. "Heh. With our cultivation, so long as we remain cautious, preserving our lives should not be difficult. During the last Mulan invasion, I slaughtered quite a number of spell warriors. This time I intend to slay even more." Hanli glanced at him with slight astonishment. Though the child fire dragon possessed the appearance of a young boy, his cultivation had already reached early nascent soul stage. The baleful qi emanating faintly from his body was far denser than that of his peers. It was evident that countless lives had fallen by his hand. The three continued their discussion for some time, finalizing details for the next day's meeting and briefly exchanging thoughts on the sudden appearance of massive beasts and the peculiar spell warriors. Eventually they took their leave. As Han Li escorted them to the entrance, Lu Luo hesitated before asking, "Junior Marshal Brother, did anything occur during your meeting today with your old acquaintance?" His gaze lingered on Han Li's face as though searching for any trace of hidden emotion. Han Li blinked once and replied calmly, "Nothing of consequence. We merely spoke of the past." "That is good. I am relieved." Lulu's lingering worries seemed to dissipate. After exchanging a few more words, he departed together with the child fire dragon. Han Li stood before his residence, watching as the two entered a nearby building, likely to meet another cultivator. Judging by their movements, it was clear they had been assigned specific duties within the Heavenly Dao Alliance. Otherwise, representatives of the righteous and devil Dao would not have sought them out so readily. He stroked his chin thoughtfully for a moment before turning back inside. On the second day of discussions, the number of nascent soul cultivators present had nearly doubled. In addition to elders from the three superpowers, several vagrant cultivators had also arrived. This sudden development caught the conference hosts Lady Qi of the Flowing Mind sect and Kun Peng of the Enlightened Leaf sect completely off guard. Regardless of their prior intentions, they were forced to concede to the many conditions raised. Chief among them was the requirement that all high-grade assignments be undertaken by an equal distribution of cultivators from the four powers, preventing any one faction from scheming against another. Han Li was particularly surprised to learn that a coalition of nascent soul cultivators from the Heavenly Dao Alliance, having already been informed by Lu Luo, and the child fire dragon had decided to dispatch nascent soul elders and core formation cultivators to reinforce soaring Heaven's city. Naturally, due to the considerable distance, Lulo and the others currently stationed there would need to delay the Mulan invasion in the interim. To ensure fairness, any cultivators who accumulated significant battle merits would be permitted to return to their sects once reinforcements arrived, exempt from participating in later engagements as incoming cultivators would take their place. Furthermore, whether it was the child fire dragon Lu Luo or others present, every cultivator in the hall received specific assignments to support the front line. Han Li, together with two other nascent soul cultivators, was tasked with leading a group of 8 core formation cultivators to reinforce a strategic location along the border of the state of Yu. It was one of several crucial points targeted by the Mulan invasion. If these locations remained uncaptured, the Mulan would be unable to secure any territory without constant fear of counterattack. As for the 9 Nations Union, their current strength was insufficient to launch a decisive confrontation. Instead, they relied on advantageous terrain and meticulously arranged grand formations to gradually delay the spell warriors' advance. Otherwise, given the speed of the high-grade spell warriors, they would have reached soaring Heaven's City within a single month. Although the main army of spell warriors had yet to reach Han Li's assigned position, only one nascent soul cultivator from the 9 Nations Union was stationed there. In past invasions, a single nascent soul cultivator, supported by restrictions and spell formations, had been sufficient to contend with multiple spell warriors. However, such measures were no longer adequate against the current assault. Among the remaining nascent soul cultivators were Old Man Ma of the Righteous Dao's Grand Pavilion, a lean elder with a robust and healthy appearance, and Gu Shuangpu, the green-robed elder Han Li had seen previously in the discussion hall. Though Gu Shuangpu carried only a single spirit beast pouch at his waist, the qi it faintly emitted made Han Li uneasy. It was clearly far from ordinary. Both possessed cultivation comparable to Han Li's, each at early nascent soul stage. Anticipating an imminent attack by the spell warriors' main army, the 3 nascent soul cultivators swiftly decided to proceed ahead, leaving the core formation cultivators behind to follow later. Their priority was to reach the spell formation as quickly as possible. Along the way, Old Man Ma proved to be an entertaining companion. regaling them with humorous anecdotes as though they were on a leisurely journey rather than marching toward a battlefield. Gu Shuangpu of the controlling spirit sect, on the other hand, remained largely silent, his expression dark and inscrutable. It was impossible to tell what thoughts lay hidden behind his gaze. As for Han Li, he wore a faint smile throughout the journey, conversing amiably with old man Ma and presenting himself with calm refinement. Both elders were aware that Han Li had only recently advanced to the nascent soul stage, and neither held his strength in particularly high regard. Nearly half a month later, within Li Prefecture of the state of Yu, atop the Yellow Dragon Mountains, a massive, bald, middle-aged man stood alone inside a jade hall crowning the mountain peaks. His towering figure paced back and forth incessantly, the unease in his heart plainly written across his face. After a while, he finally sat down heavily upon a straw chair and lifted a teacup from the table, taking a slow sip to calm the turbulent emotions surging within him. Yet before his heart could fully settle, a streak of crimson light suddenly shot into the hall, circling restlessly through the air. The large man's expression instantly changed. He raised a hand beckoning, and the red light obediently descended into his palm. The instant it made contact, the light erupted into roaring flames. The man plunged his spiritual sense into them, and his face immediately darkened. A suffocating silence enveloped the jade hall as his complexion turned ashen, his brows knitting tightly together. Without a word, he reached into his storage pouch and withdrew a small azure bell. With a flick of his finger, he struck it. A clear, melodious chime rang out, echoing endlessly through the jade hall and reverberating far into the distance. Moments later, the bell's resonance spread across the entire Yellow Dragon Mountains. Jade structures atop neighboring peaks burst into multicolored light, and cultivators clad in various robes rushed out as though long rehearsed. Shortly thereafter, dense green mist began to surge outward, engulfing the mountains and transforming tens of kilometers of terrain into a vast sea of eerie dark green fog. Before long, 4 figures emerged inside the hall, standing respectfully before the bald man, 3 men and 1 woman, all cultivators at the core formation stage. 2 of the men appeared around 30 years of age, their features similar enough to suggest they were siblings. Another wore Taoist robes and carried a horsetail whisk. Though middle-aged, his bearing was refined and gallant. As for the lone woman, her figure was delicate, and her beauty striking her features elegant and composed. All 4 stood in solemn silence. Breaking it at last, the female cultivator asked, hesitantly, disbelief evident in her voice. "Senior Lu, is it truly so? Has a spell warrior army really arrived this quickly? From what we heard earlier, was it not merely a squadron? And what of Senior Bu? Could it be that in barely a week, even with his protection, the Heaven-Wind Storm formation was destroyed? Could this be a misunderstanding?" The bald man let out a cold laugh, his voice grim. "A misunderstanding? I might have believed that if Hunchback Boo had not personally sent me this message. He clearly stated that he suffered severe injuries and is even now making his way here with what remains of his defeated garrison. There is no misunderstanding. We will be facing the enemy alone without reinforcements." The 4 core formation cultivators exchanged bitter glances before bowing in silent acknowledgement. The bald man then began issuing commands, assigning each of them tasks in preparation for the impending battle. Yet midway through his instructions, another streak of red light suddenly flew into the hall. Everyone froze. Without the slightest hesitation, the bald man caught the sound transmission talisman. It burst into flame, its message pouring directly into his mind. His expression shifted once more, this time strangely complex. Unable to contain herself, the female cultivator asked anxiously, "Senior Lu, what is it? Have the spell warriors already arrived?" The other 3 immediately tensed. Then the bald man laughed aloud. His voice trembled faintly as he forcefully suppressed the excitement surging within his heart. "No, our reinforcements have arrived. 3 nascent soul fellow Taoists are waiting outside the Grand Formation. Quickly go and welcome them in." Joy spread instantly across the faces of the 4 core formation cultivators. They saluted without delay and hurried out. Above the rolling green mist, 3 silhouettes hovered in mid-air, carefully examining the Grand Formation below. They were none other than Han Li and the 2 nascent soul cultivators who had rushed ahead, since they would soon rely on this formation to withstand the siege of the Mulan armies. All 3 observed the sea of mist, intently seeking to discern the mysteries concealed within. Regardless of the formation's true might, The vast green ocean it generated appeared boundless at a glance, exuding a strange and oppressive pressure. Han Li clasped his hands behind his back, and a faint blue glow flickered through his eyes as he scrutinized the formation, a thoughtful expression settling over his face. Before long, several white flashes burst forth from within the mist. The roiling fog parted, opening a narrow passageway. Old Man Ma and Gu Shuangpu seemed unconcerned by the change. One gazed silently toward the heavens, while the other stared at a distant section of the green mist, as though sensing something amiss. Only Han Li glanced calmly at the opening passage, a faint smile curving his lips. Moments later, 4 streaks of light shot out from the passage, resolving into the 4 core formation cultivators. The Taoist-robed middle-aged man stepped forward and saluted respectfully. Juniors pay their respects to the seniors. May we know your venerable names? Seeing that the other 2 had no intention of speaking, Han Li smiled and spoke first. I am Elder Han Li of the Drifting Cloud Sect. These 2 are fellow Taoist Ma of the Grand Pavilion and fellow Taoist Gu of the Controlling Spirit Sect. There are still 8 core formation cultivators on the way. We feared arriving too late, so the 3 of us came ahead. Since the Grand Formation is already active, the Mulan must be close. The Taoist cultivator's expression shifted to one of realization as he replied, So it is Senior Han. I am Chong Shuzi of the Clear Void Sect. These 2 are the Murong brothers of Yellow Maple Valley, and this is Lady Li of Saber Transformation Dock. The Murong brothers. Han Li's gaze flickered across the pair, a subtle, enigmatic smile appearing. Is fellow Taoist Ni still well? The brothers brightened immediately. Senior knows Senior Marshal Sister Ni. We haven't seen her for years. We've been stationed here at the Grand Formation all this time. Han Li's smile deepened. Of course, I met her not long ago. Though it seems the 2 of you do not recognize me, which is hardly surprising. Back then I was but a passing figure. The Murong brothers stiffened in shock. An old acquaintance, yet no matter how they searched their memories, they found no clear impression of him. They examined Han Li more closely, eventually sensing a faint familiarity, and exchanged bewildered glances. Hehe, since you fellow Taoists don't recall me, we can leave the matter for later. Han Li then glanced toward Old Man Ma and Gu Shuangpu and said indifferently, Shall we go inside? Chong Shuzi, still puzzled by the exchange, quickly came to his senses. Of course, seniors, please follow me. Senior Lu is already awaiting you in the main hall. The 4 core formation cultivators led the way through the green mist. Not long after, the passage sealed shut once more, swallowed by the surging fog. Moments later, Han Li and the others arrived inside the Jade Hall, standing before the massive bald man. Upon seeing them, the man's stern demeanor melted into a welcoming smile. I thank you 3 for coming to support our defenses. Brother Ma, fellow Taoist. Gu, as for this young fellow Taoist, may I know your name? His gaze lingered on Han Li, curiosity evident. Old Man Ma chuckled. It is no wonder Brother Lu does not recognize him. Fellow Taoist Han only condensed his nascent soul a few years ago. His future prospects are limitless. A flicker of disappointment crossed the bald man's face upon hearing this, but it vanished just as quickly, replaced by gratitude. So he is newly ascended, no wonder I've never met you. Regardless, I am deeply grateful. Had you not arrived, we might have fallen within days. Han Li noticed the fleeting change in the man's expression. He merely smiled, betraying no hint of displeasure. The bald man then reminisced briefly about past matters before turning to the grim situation currently facing them. Skipping further pleasantries, the large bald man spoke bluntly, his voice heavy with urgency. You 3 fellow Taoists arrived just in time. I have just received word that an army of spell warriors has attacked fellow Taoist Bu's Sky Terrace Valley and is now advancing here in passing. In less than half a day, the remnants of our defeated allies from Sky Terrace Valley will arrive. When the time comes, I hope the 3 of you can lend a hand and rescue them. Old Man Ma showed not the slightest trace of dissatisfaction. Instead, he waved a hand casually and said, This is no trouble at all, merely a trivial matter. I can handle it alone. There is no need for fellow Taoist Han or Brother Gu to act. His words caused Han Li and Gu Shuangpu to exchange glances, a hint of surprise flashing through their eyes. Old Man Ma stroked his beard, a mysterious smile appearing on his face. Fellow Taoists, do not be startled. It is not that I wish to show off, but I recently obtained a treasure and wish to test its power. Surely you would not contest me over this. Gu Shuangpu chuckled softly and replied indifferently, Hehe. Since fellow Taoist Ma is so confident, I will naturally leave it to you. The bald man nodded in approval. Very well. Then fellow Taoist Han and brother Gu may rest for the time being, and we shall entrust this matter to fellow Taoist Ma. However, I will have the Murong brothers accompany you. They have cultivated the lightning bind spell technique. It should prove quite formidable. Old man Ma had no intention of refusing. After all, having companions in unfamiliar territory was only proper. Soon after, Old Man Ma departed together with the Murong brothers to intercept the defeated Nine Nations cultivators. As for Han Li and Gu Shuangpu, they were escorted deeper into the hall by the remaining two core formation cultivators and assigned places to rest. Along the way, Han Li parted ways with Gu Shuangpu and was led instead by the young woman to a small, tranquil building tucked away among the jade structures. Stopping before it, the slender woman gestured lightly and said, Senior Han, this place is normally forbidden to low-grade disciples. It should be well suited for meditation. Senior may rest here. Very good. Han Li nodded, a faint trace of satisfaction appearing on his face. The woman did not immediately depart. Hesitating slightly, she asked in a softer voice, Senior, is fellow Taoist Nie Yin doing well? I have not seen Senior Marshal's sister for a long time. Han Li looked at her with mild surprise, studying her carefully. Oh, you are acquainted with young lady Nie. At that moment he realized that although he was seeing her for the first time, she gave him a strangely familiar feeling. Moreover, he found himself unconsciously forming a favorable impression of her. Under his gaze, the woman grew flustered, her cheeks flushing crimson. I was only able to enter the saber transformation dock thanks to Senior Marshal Sister Nie's recommendation, she replied with her head lowered. How could I not be close to her? Yingning, Li Yingning. Han Li blurted out the name almost instinctively, his expression filled with astonishment. Li Yingning raised her head in shock. Senior has heard my name before. Han Li did not answer her immediately. Instead, he drew in a deep breath and asked slowly, What was your mother's name, and which state did she come from? Li Yingning hesitated for a long while, struggling internally over whether she should reveal such information. Something then seemed to occur to her, and she replied, My mother's name was Mo Yuzhu. She came from the state of Yue. Why does Senior ask? After a brief silence, Han Li spoke again, his voice subdued. Do you still have the passing spirit jade pendant? I do. She nodded. I have kept it close to me ever since I was young. Under his steady gaze, she flushed once more, then turned around. After fumbling briefly within her robes, she turned back holding a white jade pendant in her palm. The moment Han Li saw it, he beckoned lightly. The pendant flew into his hand. Gently rubbing its smooth surface, he let out a long sigh, his expression turning distant and weary. You should know who I am now, he said after a long pause. What did your mother say of me? He studied Li Yingning once more. Now that he knew what to look for, he could discern faint traces of Mo Yuzhu in her features. Though her beauty was somewhat gentler than her mother's in her prime, it still carried echoes of that once country-toppling grace. With a wavering expression, Li Yingning murmured, Mother rarely spoke of you. I only knew that she once had a close friend, a cultivator who gifted me this pendant as a congratulatory present. After entering the cultivation world, I searched many times for its giver, but found nothing. I never imagined it was Senior, especially since you are now a drifting cloud sect cultivator. Han Li rubbed his nose and gave a wry smile. I only joined the drifting cloud sect a few years ago. Long ago. I was no longer able to remain in the state of Yue, so it is no surprise you found no trace of me. How did you come to enter the saber transformation dock? By rights, it would not have been strange if you joined the controlling spirit sect instead. Li Yingning blinked in confusion. Why would it not be strange if I joined the controlling spirit sect? Han Li looked at her in surprise. You were unaware of your father's affairs. Her expression dimmed. Forcing a smile, she replied, I know very little of my father. As far back as I can remember, both my grandfather and my father had already died from unknown causes. I lived alone with my mother. She took me away from the state of Yue, and we wandered for many years before finally arriving within the territories of the Nine Nations Union. Han Li nodded slowly, realization dawning. So that is how it was. It seems your parents were caught in the crossfire of the Devil Dao's internal struggle. After all, it was the Ghost Spirit sect that ultimately seized control of the state of Yue, not the controlling spirit sect. An internal struggle within the Devil Dao. Li Yingning looked puzzled. Seeing this, Han Li did not elaborate further. Instead, he returned the jade pendant to her and smiled gently. This passing spirit jade has accompanied you for many years. Naturally, I will not take it back. Before I entered the cultivation world, I was in a sense your mother's senior martial brother. From now on, you may address me as Martial Senior Han. Still somewhat bewildered, Li Yingning blinked her large eyes several times, then softly called out, Martial Senior Han. Though embarrassed, she felt more than willing to accept another nascent soul senior and was secretly delighted by it. Han Li smiled warmly and flipped his hand, producing 2 jade bottles. Since you have called me Martial Senior, I cannot ignore it. These 2 medicine bottles are quite helpful for breaking through bottlenecks at the core formation stage. In his view, aiding the descendant of an old friend was hardly something to be stingy about. Many thanks, Martial Senior. Li Yingning accepted them, her expression bright with sincere joy. After a brief pause, Han Li asked, What kind of magic treasure do you use? Is it the flying saber you rode earlier? She nodded. Yes, the flying saber was refined from intense flame iron and profound blossom crystal. Its power is quite good. Han Li shook his head slightly. In ordinary times, it would suffice, but when facing spell warriors, relying on it alone is far too dangerous. Li Yingning sighed helplessly. Even if Martial Senior were to give me another magic treasure, now I would not have time to refine it. Hearing this, Han Li fell silent, his expression thoughtful. Moments later, he slapped the spirit beast pouch at his waist. A dense swarm of black-tainted gold-devouring beetles surged forth, forming a 3-meter-wide cloud above him. A sharp glint flashed through Han Li's eyes. Pointing at the swarm, he cast an azure spell seal. A portion of the insect separated, gathering together amid a burst of blue light, and instantly condensed into a sparkling fist-sized sphere of black, silver, and gold. Catching the sphere, Han Li tossed it to her solemnly. Keep this item safe. I personally refined these insects. If you encounter an enemy you cannot handle, throw this sphere. It will save your life. Li Yingning was stunned, snapping back to her senses only after hearing his words. She hurriedly accepted it and bowed repeatedly. Many thanks for Martial Senior Han's profound kindness. At that moment, the final trace of doubt in her heart vanished. She trusted Han Li completely. Otherwise, why would he bestow such precious gifts without any ulterior motive? Very well, you may leave now. I wish to rest. With that, Han Li recalled the remaining insect cloud and waved his hand. The hurried journey to this strategic location had drained much of his magical power, and he needed to recover. In a voice tinged with gentle concern, Li Yingning said, Martial Senior Han, please rest well. If the spell warrior army arrives, I will come to inform you.